Welcome back to Good Morning Oakcrest. If you're joining me, you know that I have a fantastic author with me today for Author Showcase. Her name is Emani C. White, and she joins us to talk about her book, which is entitled You Are God's Diamond. And we're excited to explore this book. And Emani, we went into your background and into your what you call a pit situation, your hurt with family and overcoming that, and ultimately writing this book. Um, Talk to us about You Are God's Diamond. What is the message that you have for the masses to understand when they read this book?
Um, in the beginning of the book, I start out and I tell you the different forms of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I want for the women who would, take a chance and read the book to understand that there are several forms of abuse, and for us not to hide our heads in the sand and not deal with those type of abuses.
When you talk about abuse, are you digging from moments in your past, or are you just talking about a topic?
In the beginning of the book, it gives you several. I think I list 5 forms of abuse, like mental, emotional, verbal, sexual, and there's one other abuse. Generally, our hurt will fall in one of those categories.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was emotional.
Right.
Um, but emotional abuse, if you stay in it long enough, can lead to some of the other abuses. Mm-hmm. You're opening the door for other abuses, mm-hmm. which is what I did. I allowed people to verbally abuse me because I'm wounded, I'm hurt. My self-esteem, as much as I came off looking like I was okay, nobody ever knew what I was feeling inside. It was like an emotional rape that was going on inside of me. Mm-hmm. And so my book is to tell women it's okay to acknowledge that you're hurting.
Why women? Why that population?
Because that's the ministry God has given me, hurting women, working with hurting women. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, I guess a man could read it and walk the steps, put he where she is, but my overall ministry and the ministry that God gave to me mm-hmm. is to work with hurting women.
You explain in your book PIT situations, and it actually is an acronym. What mm-hmm. is that? What does that stand for?
Problem intended to tear your life apart.
Wow, heavy stuff. Mm-hmm. So this book isn't really, it's an easy read, but mm-hmm. it's one of those self-help books that mm-hmm. you really have to face some things in your life that you're exactly. willing to acknowledge to change. Is that what I'm getting from you?
Yes,
from
because in the beginning, each chapter has an exercise mm-hmm. that you have to perform, and the beginning exercises will be painful because you have to go under the carpet and pull out stuff that you stuck under there and you thought I can just skirt over it.
Right.
These are painful situations that you have to pull out and you have to deal with it. You can't heal and be okay and get deliverance and walk in your blessings, the things that God had for you, as long as you're holding on to the trash. So you have to move those Coach bags to the side that you dress yourself up with. You have to move aside being this glamour queen that you are on a daily basis and
face the real ugly
exactly.
person.
and it's painful because when those things start to come back to you, it's almost like it's happening right then and there again.
Wow.
So you have to do that.
Do you come in contact with people who, you touched on it, pretty much putting on a front or putting that Band-Aid over that hurt, not really letting it get that air to heal and breathe? Mm-hmm. Do you come in contact with people that hurt, and what do you do to help guide them the way that you got delivered?
One situation in particular, I was asked to speak at a retreat for women. Mm-hmm. And one of the exercises that I did to get them to open up, I told them they had to model. And what they had to do is they had to put stickies on them of all the things they felt about themselves or about situations going on in their life. Going in it, I don't think I expected what I got, but I was just surprised at looking at the person and the face of certain women who looked really nice, whatnot. But the labels they put on themselves and the hurt that started to pour out of them, because I coupled them off, and there was one person that was announcing for that person and saying she has on blah, 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 blah. But inside of her, she feels, and she had to read each one of these labels. And I saw the tears. I saw the hurt that I know on a daily basis these women do not feel, or they don't show it. No one would ever know that they felt as bad as they did about
until
themselves.
You go home with somebody. Yeah.
After the door is shut, it's just you.
Right.
You facing yourself. And a part of healing is you facing yourself, but understanding that where you are today does not dictate your future. Where you are today, that's not the person God has intended you to be later on. You are a much better person. But you can't see that until you pull out all that dirt, pull out all that stuff that's been holding you back and keeping you from growing.
Well, if there's such a pleasantness after we do all of this, and we discover who we are, and we see the light, and there's this wonderful time after the end of all of that, why do you think people hesitate to go through looking at who they really are?
I think because initially we want to protect ourselves to a certain extent. And facing the demon is a hard thing to do because you're reliving it. Some people say, well, it's over and done with. I want that behind me. I'm not dealing with it. Yeah, you're not dealing with it, but it's really not over and done with, because the least little thing that happened, another relationship, another argument from that same person, like with me and my mom, I went back and forth with being okay. I said, I'm okay. And then the least little thing that would come up or is said between the two of us, I'm back at ground zero again, which means I never truly, really dealt with the situation. If something comes up now, I may get angry or mad, but I also know that I have to walk in my healing. I can't let it just stay there with me and continue to tear of me. And like I said, my relationship with my mom is not the only pit situation that I had in my life. So I have to know that I can't continue to carry all of this on my back. And trust me, if you allow yourself to hurt during the period you need and you get past it, you see things a total different way. And you'll be wondering, I wonder why I didn't do this so long ago. It's fear. Fear keeps us trapped into painful situations.
I also heard it said once too that broken people break more people.
Exactly.
And so it's this cycle that continues to happen, and it's only when we use the power to say, okay, I need to change, then we break the cycle. So very powerful stuff. You explain also in your book, and I love this part, that we could be the doorkeeper to our own cage. That's deep stuff. My goodness. What do you mean by that?
You have the power to let yourself out.
Wow.
You have the key to letting yourself out. When you have a whole lot of stuff going on in your life and you feel caged in and can't figure out what to do, where to go, how to walk up out of it, you're caged. You're caged. It's in your mind. Because truthfully, when people dump on you, they go somewhere else and dump again and dump again. They're not watching the door. They're not watching the cage. You have the key to coming out. And you should never allow someone and their issues to become your issues and build that cage around you while they're on the outside going on and on and on and on and on. issues can be dealt with if you choose to deal with them and if you choose to be caged. So I decided I hold the key to my success.
Yeah.
I hold the key to my happiness. I take responsibility for me.
So when was the happiness moment in your life when you've dealt with who you were, you dealt with your past, and you said, I'm Emani C. White, I'm moving forward? What was that moment like for you?
Wonderful. I'm Emani C. White. I'm a diamond. God loves me. He has big plans for me. I'm starting to see those plans and trust me, I'm still growing. As I let go one thing and move past one thing and go through whatever seasons I have to go through, and God knows there are a lot of them, and the more he wants to give to me, the more I have to go through. But it's how I go through it. I don't go through it laying on my back crying and building that cage again. I go through it, okay, God, all right, I need for you to do something here. I'm in another valley. And he'll show me the way out. May not be like the way I want it, but nonetheless, it's a way out because he has plans for me. He knows the plans he has for me. So with that, I'm excited. I'm happy because I know within me I can feel it. If I just trust him, if I just take a chance, and a lot of it is walking out on faith, a lot of it is walking in fear, but if I trust him, he's going to show me some things, and he's going to give me the desires of my heart, and he's going to fulfill those things that I feel are lacking in my life. It's just walking out in faith and knowing that I'm important. I'm important to God.
Definitely that is a message that you've not only written on in your book, You Are God's Diamond, but it is also one of the factors that helped you create a nonprofit organization, In My Sister's Shadow.
Yes.
Where were you in time when you said, okay, I need to empower others?
Actually, God started speaking to me in 2008. And trust me, when he started speaking to me, I was still very broken. And I'm like, why do I need to empower anybody when I need empowering? You know, and I'm like, God, I understand. I've known for a while that my ministry would be with hurting women. But to do an organization, I'm like, first of all, I don't have the first inkling of how to do an organization. And second of all, I'm all about me right now because I'm hurting and you haven't done the things I need for you to do for me. And so I said, okay, you know, because he started doing little things, letting little things happen in your life. I said, okay, I'm gonna go towards this end. So I said, I'll just put out a newsletter. Because I have a tendency, you say go here, I'm coming right here. Because that's where my comfort level is. Right. And so I said, I'll put out a newspaper. And that went on for about a year. And, you know, but you can tell when it's not doing what God wants you to do. Because then he starts pouring on some more stuff or sitting with his eye to the side while other things happen in your life. And then you go begging, okay, God, I need for you to fix it. And he said, well, remember when I said, you know, because your healing is going to come through some of what I'm telling you to do. You just aren't paying attention here. So in 2009, I said, okay, God, I got it. You know, he had given me enough pain and pat me enough. I said, okay, I'm going to start this organization. And I honestly had no idea how to do it and what to do. I started researching. I started talking to people. And sure enough, a young lady in my office came to me. She says, Emani, when are you going to put together the organization? And I knew then, coming from that particular person, I knew then that was God. That was God. And I said, I'm getting ready to do it. And so I formed it in 2009 with the help of 10 other women.
Wow. So you and 10 other ladies have taken on this charge. And what do you do as an organization?
We reach out to women who are hurting. We do it via classes. We do it via retreats. It's going to be, it's a year in process. We've just celebrated our 1-year anniversary. And I'm in the process now of trying to be able to get more funds so that I can do more. I want to reach out to shelters, and ultimately the goal for In My Sister's Shadow is to have 3 transitional homes. I want to
Wow.
have a transitional home for single women, which will have a program that will allow them from maybe 6 months to a year to stay and be able to pull their lives together. You have a lot of women who are homeless and have been on the streets and whatnot, and a lot of them need life skills to be taught to them. So I want to do one for singles. I want a transitional home for singles, single mothers with children, so
That is a prominent population.
exactly to get, and you have a lot of teen pregnancy,
Yes.
and a lot of women are on the street after they have their babies. And so I want to do something for them. And then I want an overnight shelter where women can come out of the elements, overnight.
Right.
And hopefully from that shelter can transition into one of the homes at some point in time when they're open.
Wow.
But that's the ultimate goal, is to be able to do something for the mind, body, and soul of each woman.
Wow. Fantastic. You are not only do you have a ministry, not only do you write books, and this is the first book of the Diamond series.
Yes.
I said to her, why didn't we have some diamonds here on Good Morning Oakcrest? And she said she'll work on that for next time. So you have that, and then you are also founder of In My Sister's Shadow. You are a fantastic mother, grandmother, all of that. What is next for Emani C. White? What do you think, or where do you think God is taking you next?
Well, phew, this is a lot on my plate, as it is.
You're tired from me saying all of that.
There will be, as she said, the Your God's Diamond is actually a part of a series. And so there will be other books under this series. In fact, the next one will be Miss Diamond Trusting God for Mr. Diamond. So we're gonna do something with relationships. I mean, a lot of women, after you fix them up, first thing they want, if they're single, is a man.
Right.
And that's fine. And then, of course, you have some, once you fix them up, they look at the men they have
And think there's a second
and
chance
they
with
think,
that.
well, I got to do a little something different. So that's what the next book will be all about. But really, I'm focused on my writing, but I'm also focused on really taking In My Sister's Shadows to another level.
Wonderful. I just want to have an aside with you with your next book to follow. You Are God's Diamond. You've been in a married relationship for 20 some odd years.
26 years.
And so this book is somewhat very important because you said there was a surprise earlier on in this relationship, right?
Yes.
If
I've
you
been
care to
married twice, actually. And I was sharing with Tamika that each one of my marriages came at the backside of a short courtship. And I think it's okay to say, because my husband, let me put it out here right now so nobody can screw it up later on. The husband I'm with, I've been with him 26 years.
Yes.
We love each other. We'll probably die apart, I'm sure. So before and he knows all about this, so it's nothing you can really tell him. When I married my husband this time, I didn't know. I married my husband after, I think, about 8 months of courtship. And I did not know until after I had my daughter that he had a drug habit, which fell very hard on our relationship. And so in writing the next book, I want to focus on learning to trust God for that partner. And that's not to say that the partners you have that you didn't necessarily trust God for won't be the partners that you keep.
Right.
Because my husband is clean. He's been clean for probably about, 10, 15 years. And he's a good man.
But there was a change even in him. That
God had to fix it. I had, there were times when I was God, I don't care how you get me out of this marriage. And he'll tell you the story himself. I asked God to take a bus and run over him, if that meant letting me out of the marriage. That's how desperate you get. But that comes from not trusting God to put the relationship together. And it's not to say that God would not have led me to him, but I don't think he intended that we marry in the beginning. And because he's a good, merciful God, he kept the marriage by fixing the people within. And you have to be open to that, because not every marriage, one person may be open, the other one will say, I'm not doing all of that. She's gotten all religious on me, I'm not doing it. My husband was open.
Yeah.
And so I just want to be able to say that there are signs and there are certain things you should be looking for in a partner that at the time I did not realize until after I said I do.
So that's why you want to write the second book.
That's my reason for writing the second book.
Well, I can't wait to have you on Author Showcase to talk about that book, because it just seems like it's going to be a page turner as well. And will it have the same type of feature of you have like the workbook?
Diamond is going to be a part of it.
Okay.
And yes, there will definitely.
The exercises, that's what I'm saying.
I'm a firm believer that there have to be
You have to work it out.
Exactly. Because you read it, you forget it.
Yeah.
You read it, you retain certain parts of it, but if you have to actually go in and do some work, first of all, it ensures that you read my book. And second, it's nothing like walking through the steps.
And remembering, you remember that.
Exactly. You retain, and you can go back and you can say, oh, I wrote such and such and such.
Yeah. So it becomes a reference.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Emani, for coming on. Good morning, Oakcrest. You have been a fantastic guest today, and I just look forward to having you on again.
Thank you so much.